Great. So my name's Nana Kojodia, and I'm a designer, creative director of a small design and brand firm called Oxygen, based in Accra, Ghana. A few things just to share, as a creative, how to, deal with the angst that comes with the job that we do, or what people tend to call imposter syndrome. How did it start? I think when I started my journey in this whole profession, the whole idea of being a professional was what probably started me off on this downward trail. What's a professional? So you do things appropriately, you do things on time, and then you try to diminish a lot of risks. For a creative person, yes, it starts off sounding all nice and pretty, but over time you realize it's like the antithesis of what it is that you stand for, because the whole point is you're trying to avoid failure. And we all know as creative people, failure is what makes us grow. Failure is what gives us inspiration. Failure is what gives us ideas we never thought about. So yes, as trying to be a professional, the more and more and more and more and more I tried to be a professional, the more I realized it was just becoming a burden. It was becoming something which wasn't helpful. And slowly I was getting a little staid, because the whole idea of trying to push boundaries as a professional, because somebody sees your work, I like this kind of work, therefore I want you to replicate it for me. So the reason why you're getting more and more people is basically because they've seen your work and they want something similar. And so it means you now have to create something which we call a brand. And it's weird how I keep talking about branding, but it's a word which I personally am not too pleased about. But branding works because it helps people, it gives people a quick shortcut as to what it is that you can offer. So they know that, yes, when I come to this person can design, this person is a 3D artist, this person is a musician, whatever it is, it gives them a sense of what to expect from you. But it also tends to limit you, because all they'll know you for is, okay, this person is a typographer, or this person is a keyboard player or a guitarist, or whatever it is that you do. It could be that you do other things, but it's good for financial purposes, it's good for career growth. But for yourself as a creative, you realize it becomes quite limiting, because there are other things that you wish to do, or other things that you wish you want people to know you for. So yes, being a professional became a limitation for me. When I say professional, I hope you understand what I mean. It became a limitation for me because I was trying to replicate my successes over and over again. And when that happens, it means I'm not taking as much risk as I wanted to, and I am gradually becoming, a cookie cutter kind of solution provider. And thereby the whole angst began, the whole idea of, am I really a design professional? Am I really a creative person as I profess to be? Because deep down, you could really push it, but you feel the need to replicate what has been working already, and therefore it becomes a continual pattern where, yes, the client loves the job has been done, you've been paid, but deep down, you really don't believe in what you've done. So that became, a big problem for me. Yeah. So how did I try to overcome this? A few ways. Of course, it took a while. It's a journey, and I'm just trying to package it for your benefit to see how it might also help you on your journey. I had to realize that yes, there is the business world, for what is that we do, because as design professionals, we are commercial artists. We sing the tune of the client, but also as a creative person, I had to understand that I'm not the only one feeling this way. Most people, most creative endeavors have the same feeling of inadequacy, the same feeling of I could do more, the same feeling of I'm not really giving all to my client. And so nobody is immune, and so gradually by trying to understand that, I got to the position where I was a little bit at ease, knowing that I'm not the only one facing this issue. On the flip side, also understanding that there was always somebody better than I was. Yes, you can be as professional as you want, as creative as you want, but there is always a better person out there. There's always somebody better than you are, and therefore it helps you calm your nerves by understanding that you're not the only person who's going through whatever it is that you feel that you're going through. But one of the telltale signs for me in trying to get over this whole idea of the angst and the feelings of inadequacy was when I need to design for myself. It's one of the most difficult things ever to do, and that's where it becomes very apparent. You're like, oh my goodness. So I do it easily for other people, but when it comes to me, imagine you're a cook and whatnot. You might cook something like that, but if you're cooking something for yourself, you want it to be, and you realize it is so difficult, and you're not willing to cut corners, and so then deep down you start to realize, have I been giving the same effort to the work that I do? But the whole point is, it's as a creative endeavor, it's personal, and every creative person knows how deep the personal connection is. And therefore, when you end up doing things for yourself, it's not because you're not putting all your efforts into doing it for other people, but it's just that when it comes to you, there are no barriers, and there are no guards for you to execute what you want to execute, and therefore you have enough time, and you can put in all your passion, and you can be angry, and you can be sad, and you can cry, and then at the end of the day, there's success. Yeah, so designing for yourself can be one of the ways you can try and understand these feelings of inadequacy. As it comes to designing for yourself, you really put in your effort, you put in everything, you know, because working for clients, there are a lot of limitations, there are a lot of barriers. So the only way you can really get above these kind of things is to, initiate some personal projects as a countermeasure. And then you realize that with these kind of projects, you throw in everything. It can really stretch you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not putting as much effort into your client's work. They're just two different things, and by understanding these kind of things, you're able to manage these feelings of inadequacy. People come to you for your difference. It's strange when clients come to this realization as well that customers or consumers don't really come to you because you have the best product. They tend to come to you because you are different. So it put me at ease, where I realized, okay, it is my difference which I can enhance. I don't need to be the best person. I'm different in my own way, and therefore this is the kind of solution that I'm going to provide. It doesn't have to be the best ever. It just has to be appropriate for the client and different for the client. And then deep down to know that I'm not trying to diminish any risk for this client. I'll be replicating the success, not the model, but the principle of trying to make this client succeed. Why is it that the client liked the first work or the first job that you did for somebody else? It was because it was bold. It was because it was out there, and you like to think it kind of drew the kind of attention which helped that client. So for anybody coming to you, that is what they want. They don't necessarily want the same solution. They want the result. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between creating the solution and creating the result that the client wants. Yeah. Moving on. The feelings of inadequacy, of course, it never stops. The best way to describe it would be like having a book, and on the outward everything's nice, the cover well bound, the cover design, everything's perfect, pages are in there, but there are missing chapters in the book. no one might know this, but you, the owner of the book, can tell that something isn't right. And that's the feeling you have. Outwardly everything looks perfect, but there are missing chapters in the book. The good side is you have the ability to fill in those chapters. Most creative people, apart from, of course, those who go to the full extent of having formal education, learn on the job. Most are self-taught. You might start off as a illustrator or whatever it is and end up being a brand strategist. You might start off being a graphic designer and end up being whatever it is. So that feeling is always there, where you think there's something that you don't know, you don't have, you don't grasp. If you compare yourself to other professions, you might tend to think, I am lacking in a certain area, which in turn starts to build up this whole feelings of inadequacy, feeling that you really aren't what it is that you claim to be. But that's the beauty of creativity, because you can't formalize it. And so understanding that is one of the ways to help you, calm your nerves, and to know that, yes, it's not about, the formality of what it is that but it is about how you're able to solve that problems using your creativity, which is something that I feel you've been doing all along. Outwardly, one of the ways I tried to counter these feelings was to stop trying to appeal to what people expected of me. So going back again to this whole idea of professionalism, you want to start off as a professional, with the shirt and the tie, you go for meetings and that kind of thing. Yes, it's valid. But for me, at a point, I realized, okay, if the work can speak for itself, the work was strong enough and potent enough, then I don't think the client was really expecting, one to be wearing a suit and a tie for such encounters. And moreover, they tend to even see agencies or firms, design firms, design studios, who stereotypically, are a bit more casual in their outlook. So with time, I stopped wearing the suits and the ties and the shirts and tried to be more of myself, because it just helps mentally. It helps in getting the work done the way I want it to be done. With design work, with creative work, the idea that it is not serious can plague you, because for most creative designers, professionals, it's as if you are playing. It's as if it comes so easy to you. You're able to just draft things down and execute stuff, and people are clapping for you, and the adoration is there. That's, oh, it's so wonderful, it's magical. How did you come up with it? And that kind of it feels very easy. It's not easy, but it just feels very easy. And one of the tricks is to make it look quite easy anyway. And so that feeling that it's not serious. I mean, if you sit back and you're like, doctors and lawyers, and that looks like very, very serious work, whilst mine just draws from, God knows where, and it's executed and it does its job. So that feeling of balance, trying to understand that, yes, even though it might be coming easy to you, it doesn't mean it is not serious work. So that could be one of the ways to help resolve your feelings of inadequacy. Another thing was trying to share my work, because if you feel you're a fraud, you hardly want to share some of your work, because you feel maybe somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to say, this work looks like this person's work, or this work looks like that person's work. So it was one of the things that I tried to do was, hey, share my work. Not all will be perfect. Not all will be, top notch, but at least it goes to show the breadth of your offerings. And one of the sayings I go by, this so Maya Angelou speaks about creativity and how the more you use it, the more you get back. So by sharing your work, whether it is great or not, works that didn't win pitches, whatnot, even whatever it is, it gives you the opportunity to to humble yourself, so you don't take yourself too seriously to the point where you start to feel you need to have a certain sense of perfection in everything that you do. And ultimately, it also brings joy to a lot of people. They're like, oh, great. Oh, I saw this. Oh, I love the way you are thinking and this kind of thing. And gradually, it helps reinforce the idea that you are not, a fraud. You are not incapable. On the flip side of that, by sharing your work, it attracts a lot of criticism, which if you're not taken carefully, which you're not taking, if you don't consider it carefully, it might end up making you feel that, yes, it confirms what you've been thinking all along. You are not good enough. You are masquerading as something that you are not. Because when criticism comes in and you're not able to sift between, let me just call this the trolls and the proper feedback that can help you grow, it can end up affecting your work in the long run. A situation happened a few years ago where I did a piece of work for somebody, and somebody came up and says, why is it because Anakojo designed this piece of work and therefore everybody's going goo gaga over it? And everyone's trying to explain to him, no, check out the work because of this or because of that. And later he came to realize, why whatever it is, was appropriate for the client. And I guess I won a new fan. So that could be something I call the superstar syndrome, where you end up in a stage where anything that you design, just because you designed it, ends up being termed as good. Not that it necessarily is good, and that could start insulating you against criticism, start insulating you against proper feedback, to the point where if you actually hit a roadblock, you start to think, all is lost, and therefore you weren't the person that you have been trying to project. But there are a few ways to round up, which I feel can help. There's this famous artist, I'm sure you've heard of him, he's called Picasso, and looking at his life and picking up examples from his life, it has helped me fashion out, a path where I feel more confident, and I feel, less of the angst and less of this imposter syndrome. The first thing he advises is for you to kill your masters. And what does that mean? Of course, we're not killing anybody in person. We're killing styles. We're killing trends. We're killing the things that we've learned, which is helping us. I know it's a logo, therefore it has to be a word mark, or it has to be this, or it has to be, a symbol. We're killing all of that. We're going in there with a full sense of curiosity. We're trying to understand the brief, turn it upside down, reverse it, whatever it is. We're killing every preconception. By killing our masters, we kill off anything which we've done in the past. I'm sure you've heard the term, you're only as good as your last performance. Whatever it is that you do, whether you're a photographer, you were a graphic designer, you were a musician. What if your last performance was quote unquote rubbish? What if your last performance was, is that you? Kill off your masters. Kill off anything which affects your style, anything which, you are known for. Oh, this person is known for this, nice typography. This person is known for, bold colors. Yes, it can help you at a point, but to stop these feelings of inadequacy, you need to kill these things off. Every project you get, you start afresh. I'm not saying throw everything that you know away. I'm saying start afresh. Go into every project with a full sense of curiosity. The second thing is to use whatever it is that you have at your disposal. A lot of creative people want the best products, the best gear. If I don't use a Mac, then the work is not, it's not it. If I don't use, whatever it is, it means the work is not up to scratch. Picasso ended up he had different stages in his career where he used just one pigment for all artwork. So his blue period, for example, he used just blue pigments, blue inks, blue paint to do all his pieces of work. The principle of that is whatever you have at hand, do not feel, because I do not have A, B, or C, I cannot execute the job or I cannot meet the standard. because there will always be something new coming. There will always be something fresh and something innovative and whatnot. But the core thing is whatever that you have at your hands. It's those things are simply tools, and therefore it is within you to use those things to create. And most times, as creative people, the more limited you are, the more creative that you become. By understanding this, it also helped me, calm myself. Third point is trying not to repeat myself, or yourself. Try not to repeat yourself, because it's very easy to. It worked last time. It's going to work again. Yes, it will work again. But over time, people start to say, are you a one-trick pony? So if all your solutions are, this kind of style or that kind of style, after a while, you become known for it. It becomes your brand, but in the long run, it doesn't really help you, in your development, in your growth. And then gradually those feelings start, popping in and popping in and popping in. It took me a long while to understand this, because, your work is clean, it's minimalist, it is God knows what, but deep down, you can offer more. Deep down, you want to really push boundaries. Deep down, you want to really show off your creativity, of course, in sync with the client's briefs and objectives and, all those kind of things. So the idea might be, yes, replicate the principle, but don't replicate the methods by which you use to get to your solution. The fourth part is to always stay green, always try and be humble. It's something that's always in the back of my mind, Nana is this or Nana is that, or whatever plot is that you get, take it with a pinch of salt. I always say take it with a whole shovel of salt. Not to say that you don't appreciate what people, when people are appreciating you and when people are, giving you, props and that kind of thing. But keep grounded, and keep learning. It's Steve Jobs who said, stay green. The idea is when you arrive, you start to rot. And Picasso says it beautifully. To copy others is necessary, but to copy yourself is basically pathetic. So the idea is just continue growing. You never arrive at your destination, because success, basically, when you arrive at your success, when you arrive at your point where you think you're a success, then the game is basically over. The last point is to give your gift away. You can mentor people, you can teach people, you can train people, you can give interviews such as this. So after you've amassed all this knowledge, Picasso is saying, give it away. Maybe not for free, but the point is contribute. Give back to your community, give back to others, and hopefully by putting all these things together, it would help you, deal with those feelings of inadequacy, those feelings of angst, or those feelings of imposter syndrome, and help you on your journey as a creative professional.